Just go?
Yeah.
Oh. All right. So, we're gonna talk about Ocean's 11. Okay, so we're gonna talk about one of my favorite movies of all time. It's my favorite movie of all time. We're gonna talk about Ocean's 11. Okay. Now, Ocean's 11, if you don't know, Ocean's 11 originally was filmed way back in the day with Frank Sinatra and some other cool cats. It was in black and white. Then in 2001, Steve Soderman, he made it in 2001, same movie, they remade it, and it was awesome. Now, the cast for this, they got George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Don Cheadle, the guy who plays Jason Bourne. Matt Damon. They also had Andy Garcia as the casino owner. Whole film, just solid cast list. Bernie Mac was in it, right? They got like 13 guys, just best actors ever. All into this one movie. Now, scene opens up, right? You see this chair, and then George Clooney walks in, sits his butt in that chair, and he's all beard and everything, right? Because he hasn't shaved in it forever. And he's in prison in Jersey. And they went, Mr. Ocean, why should we let you out of prison? He's like, well, because I'm me. And he smooth talked them all. And then he got out of prison, right? And then he goes to Vegas, which you shouldn't be in Vegas, because parole, you gotta stay in your state. But he said screw it, and he went to Vegas. And he was like, I got this plan. And he met with Bernie Mac, who was a blackjack dealer by the name of Frank Catton. And now Frank Catton was a blackjack dealer, and he called him Frank, and he's like, I'm not Frank. The name is Ramon, as you can see right there. And he's like, my bad. And then he's like, you should meet me at the place by the thing with the time. And they went, fine. So they met there and talked about stuff. And then he met with Rusty. You know, Rusty was played by Brad Pitt. Now, the two of them had this amazing camaraderie because they were like best friends, right? So he goes to meet Rusty. Now, Rusty is teaching celebrities how to play poker. And then him and Brad Pitt had a meeting, and they decided that they were going to rob 3 casinos. The Mirage, the Bellagio, and the MGM Grand. Now, here's the kicker, right? The Bellagio, the Mirage, and the MGM Grand were all owned by the same guy who coincidentally was doing Danny Ocean's ex-wife, played by Julia Roberts, right? So Julia Roberts is doing this guy, played by Andy Garcia, who is an amazing actor, and they're doing each other. And Danny's not about that, right? Because Danny got divorced over this, so he's not very happy. So he's like, I'm going to get my wife back from this casino guy, and who they call Terry Benedict. And so they meet with this guy named Ramon. No, not Ramon. Who do they meet with? They meet with Ruben. Sorry, Ruben. Now, Ruben was this super rich casino owner himself, and he was pissed because Terry Benedict was going to blow his casino up because he bought it, and he was going to demolish it to make room for this quote-unquote gaudy monstrosity, right? So he's all about helping them screw him over because he doesn't like the guy. So now they got to come up with a plan, right? So they come up with, all right, we got to get Frank Catton, who has the inside scoop. So that was Bernie Mac, right? Then they got to get Linus Caldwell so that they can do the pickpocketing. They got to get the tech guy. They got to get the amazing Yen, because he's the acrobat that they hook up with. They got to get Saul, because Saul is the old timer. Right, gotta have the old timer. He wears the weird, goofy hat. The twin brothers from Utah to drive. They gotta get Matt Damon's character, his character. Oh, Basher, right? Played by Don Cheadle. He's the demolitions guy. So he's the guy at the end of the movie, towards the end of the movie, he sets off the pinch, which is the electromagnetic bomb that disables the power for all of Las Vegas. They also hook up with him. Did I miss anybody? pretty sure I got everybody. Yeah, okay, so they got everybody. They got 13 guys, and they all decide they're going to rob these 3 casinos at the same time. So they go into the cage, and they set up the plan. And there they go. They go rob the casino. Now, the cool part about this movie is there's a scene where they're talking about, where they get everybody together at this guy's house, and they're talking about the plan. And they talk about the elevator, the doors they can't open, and the elevator they can't move through the doors that don't work. And the amazing yen, the Chinese guy, says something in Chinese. And there's this moment which is really cool because Don Cheadle looks at the Chinese guy who just said things in Chinese. Brad Pitt goes, nope, because there's sensors that monitor the ground at 100 meters in every direction. So if a groundhog were to nest there, they know about it. And then Don Cheadle, as he's hearing that response, goes, because he's like, Brad Pitt no Chinese, because he just understood what he was saying. So they come up with this plan to rob the casinos. Starts off with recon. So they have to go in the casino and they have to recon the whole place. So they scout security movements. They scout the routes of the trays as they go through the casino with the chips on them. They figure out that the amazing yen is going to hide in one of those cases. It's like a big case that they send to rooms, like for room service. He's going to hide in that so that they can send that to the vault. So then they got to get some getaway vans. So they go to this van store. Now the twins, played by Casey Affleck and James Caan's kid, I don't remember his name. He was in Gone in 60 Seconds. They're bouncing up and down on these vans, and the guy's like, Frank Canton, the guy played by Bernie Mac, comes in and he's like talking to the guy who owns the place, and he's like, well, there are some top of the line vans out there, and he's like, he shakes his hand and he talks about hand lotion, and he's like, well, if you want, we can talk them down to like 15.5, right? And he's like, oh, that'd be great. So they buy the vans, boom, done. Livingston Dell at the same time is working on, he has to get into the casinos, go through the cages, no, not the cages, go through the walls, not the walls, the hallways, and then get into the room with all the computer things, and he has to, like, plug his BlackBerry, I don't know what the hell it was, his BlackBerry into the thing, so that he can tap into all the security things, so that back at the hotel, they can see what everyone else sees. But this is really all just smoke and mirrors, because at the same time, they're reconstructing the entire vault of the Bellagio Mirage and the Amiens, because they all meet in the same vault. They all share a common Holy of Holies, right, with all the money in it. So, Danny Ocean, while he's trying to rob these places, coming up with this plan to get his ex-wife back, because, he likes his ex-wife. What are you going to do? So, she doesn't like him, but he plants a cell phone in her pocket, right? Smart. So, he gets kicked out, but he gets red flagged, and so when he comes back in the casino again, the bad guys grab him and they throw him into one of those side rooms and they beat the crap out of him. But he doesn't beat the crap out of him because he sneaks up to the vents and he goes through this thing. And then he grabs Linus through the elevator, brings him up, right? And then they do that cool James Bond thing where they fall down the elevator shaft because they got to break into the vault. They break into the vault with explosives, and the amazing yen is screwed because he's stuck in the thing. You got George Clooney and Matt Damon's character, Linus and Ocean, outside with a detonator, ready to blow the vault doors, right? But the battery dies. It's dead. So they, they get new batteries. They put it in there, and that's enough time for the yen to pull his hand out of the thing, so he could get away, so they can blow up the vault doors. They steal all the money. They put it in the thing, and they tell Andy Garcia's character, who is Terry Benedict, the owner, that we're robbing you. Don't do anything stupid. We're going to walk out of here with this money. Blah, 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 blah. So he calls the SWAT team. The SWAT team comes in. Now, here's the killer part, right? The SWAT team is the crew that are robbing the casino. They reroute the call, right? Because they hacked into the telephone service. They rerouted the call to them. They show up in SWAT gear, right? So he thinks, oh, this is a SWAT team. It's not. It's them. They go down, and they just grab all these bags of money, and they walk out the front door because they're the SWAT team, right? Who's going to question them? It isn't until later that he finds out that the video he's watching isn't real. It's not real because on the floor, like I said before, it says Bellagio on the floor. Well, back before, when the crew built a replica of the vault and they filmed it, so everything that Terry Benedict was watching on film was not actually happening. They had filmed this previously, hacked into the system, and sent this video. So he thinks he's seeing these people robbing his vault, and that's not what actually is happening. The SWAT team is actually just taking all the money and is leaving. So they walk out, and the SWAT team, the real SWAT team, follows this van, but the van is actually a robot. And the van blows up. And all these hooker articles come out. It's like all these naked chicks with phone numbers for hookers, because it's Vegas, right? And he's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So Danny Ocean, who was taken into custody by the casino people because he's red flagged because he was flirting with the wife. So the owner was like, when he comes in again, grab him, put him in the back, beat him up. But the guy who was supposed to beat him up is actually his friend on the payroll, so he let him go through the vent, right? That's how they got lines out of the elevator. They rob the casino. They get $150 million in cash. And then you have this amazing scene where they're by this fountain, they're all lined up, and they had just finished the job. And there's music playing, and they're smoking cigars. And one by one, ad-libbed, the characters, one by one, just kind of walk out, right? The guy who plays Saul, the older guy, they leave him as the center guy. So they're all leaving, and you just end up with Saul. And he kind of gives this look like, yeah, this was it. This was my last big score. And then he walks away. And that was the end of the movie. And then they made two more films, Ocean's 12, which even the director says was not his best work at all. And then Ocean's 13, which goes back to the original kind of theme. First of all, I thought the cast list was incredible. You get all these great guys. I mean, you got to think, too. Steve Soderman, this was like his first film, right? So he gets this contract, and he gets this budget, and he gets the best guys in the world. Ocean's 11 came out in 2001. Ocean's 13 came out in 2000. Ocean's 13 came out in 2013, I think. Don't quote me on that. So you're talking roughly 12 years it took to come up with these three films, with this incredible growth between these three actors. They were going to make an Ocean's 14, but Bernie Mac died. And he died of pneumonia, which is ironic that Bernie Mac died of pneumonia, because in the movie, in Ocean's 11, they talk about how Bernie Mac's character, Frank Catton, was moving from Atlantic City to Las Vegas because of health issues. He wanted them to move to a warmer climate. So that's why Frank Catton moves to Vegas, which is ironic because in real life, he actually does die of pneumonia, which is amazing, right? In the movie, he moves because of his health issues, and then he actually dies of pneumonia. That's incredible. Anyway, they were going to make an Ocean's 14, but then the rest of the crew decided we ain't doing it because if Bernie Mac's not in it, we're not doing this film. And so they respectfully said, okay, no, let's go in another direction. And so now they're going to start with an all-female cast. Ocean's 11 is my favorite movie of all time. I know every word by heart. I can quote the entire movie to you. I will not do it now. If you haven't seen the movie, watch the movie. If you have seen the movie, but you haven't seen the other two, watch the other two. They're great. Done.